We don't even use antivirus anymore.
You're like spying on the other vendors.
When you put something into your browser, think about it next time.
Does that mean that we should be scared of Google?
Never trust.
Never trust and always verify.
That's the one.
Hello and welcome to the newest episode of ESA's new cybersecurity podcast, Unlocked 403. I'm your host, Bex, and welcome. Today we have a very special guest and I'm super excited because we finally have another woman on the podcast. I have Zuzana Legatova here with me, who is a senior manager of analyst and tester relationships. Welcome.
Hi, Bex. Very happy to be here.
It's been, I think this is episode 6, and you're the first woman that we've had. Not to say that we don't have any women at ESET, but I'm super happy to have some feminine energy and to talk about our experiences, especially your work. So let's jump right into it. What is it that you do?
That's a good question. I have been asking that question myself for many years. For everyone who is listening or watching, it's actually about bridging the gap between the external world and our ESET world, so that we simply understand what the external world is doing, what are the key developments happening in the cybersecurity space in this outside world, that we simply observe and that we take the best out of it and we transpose it into our internal world of ESET solutions, ESET products, which actually protect our customers.
So you're like spying on the other vendors, or is it trends, or what exactly do you mean by observing the outside world?
Yeah, so spying is something which is usually illegal. But what we do within a legal framework. So we actually use public resources for our work. So everything what we do, we actually work with materials, with data points, with reports which are publicly available. Even to our competitors, we analyze those reports, we analyze those data points, and we simply try to understand how they actually match what we offer and what we have or what we might be actually developing in the near or long-term future, so that we simply are ahead of our competitors and that we are also ahead of the market.
Is this something that's only in the field of cybersecurity, or do similar positions exist elsewhere?
Analyst relations is a specific function which mostly exists within cybersecurity space, but it is not I wouldn't say that it's only there. Also, many financial companies, healthcare industries, and other technology companies actually utilize the data, the market insights from analyst firms like Gartner, Forrester, IDC, Omdia, to actually understand their markets better, to understand also their customers better.
What does your day-to-day look like? Do you look at a lot of reports, or do you analyze them? Do you talk to the analyst houses? What does it look like?
Yeah, so you actually described it quite well. So it is the core of our job is actually to talk to analysts on a regular basis. So the key analysts who observe, who analyze the markets, the segments where we also have solutions or where we plan to have or start offering solutions. So we actually gather insights and we then distribute it internally within the company to all key stakeholders from technology or from sales or from marketing, so that they can also refine the offerings, so that they can also streamline the communication towards external world, so that it is better aligned with what the external world wants to hear, wants to actually consume. And of course, it also helps us in improving our solutions, our products, our services, so that they really address the market needs, so that they address the customer needs in the most appropriate way.
Is it only with products, or do you also do it with research?
Depending what you mean by research. Because analyst reports are also considered research, because actually these reports are outputs of qualitative and quantitative research these analyst houses have been doing with their client base. So at the end, I would say that analyst report equals research.
So your role sounds very important, like extremely important. Like people like you, I'm guessing in the cybersecurity industry are like the knights in shining armor, correct?
I always feel somehow not that confident when someone says something like that. But we have a unique access, which enables us to actually share the knowledge. I wouldn't say that we are the knights, but we are the holders of holders of knowledge, and we try to share that knowledge because we have the access. So yeah.
Is this relevant mostly to business customers, or is it also relevant to consumers, like regular people?
Most of the analyst research is actually addressing the needs of large businesses or B2B segment, so business to business, but also partially B2C or business to consumer. But majority is really for businesses because businesses actually have the resources, the financial resources to have access to these analyst reports, to analysts. A consumer does not have the resources or doesn't really care about the more sophisticated maybe solutions, tools which are available on the cybersecurity market.
So they make their decisions based on, I'm guessing, like marketing and peer reviews maybe, or?
Yes, because it is simply a question of resources, financial resources you have at your disposal. And consumer, they will usually go to publicly available sources, which are free of charge. They can be like peer-to-peer review platforms. And businesses, they need more sophisticated feedback because it's their daily operations, which if there is, let's say, a disruption in that business continuity, it causes significant financial, but also reputational damage to that company. And that's where analyst houses come into play because they provide that expert view on, if you want to actually understand the competitive landscape, if you want to understand where the cybersecurity is going, what type of solutions you should be deploying, we have that knowledge, because they have that access.
Does that mean that people like you who work with these reports and analysts, you sort of can predict what might happen in the industry in the future?
We can say in a simplified way,
Very simplified, yes.
yes. But actually these analyst houses also work with research teams from vendor side. So they also have the visibility into threat landscape. They have visibility into diverse vulnerabilities which are being exploited in the wild. So they also can make certain predictions, and they actually also make predictions on the evolving threat landscape, on different vulnerabilities, because they actually have that visibility thanks to the customers, thanks to those businesses they talk to, and thanks to vendor community. So they don't talk only to us, they also talk to our direct competitors. So they actually have a perfect blend of insights they can actually use for those predictions to make those trends reports. So that's what's their added value, their unique benefit.
It's a very broad value, I feel like. There's a lot that they can do and they can stir, probably.
Most definitely. They are very influential. So they really can influence how certain vendors are positioned or what topics actually dominate the headlines. You read in newspapers, in major media outlets. They are those, I would say, watchers of cybersecurity space. Yeah, so of course you shouldn't rely only on their insights. There are also testing houses. Yeah, we shouldn't also omit testing houses, which are also very influential and who provide a different type of insight. But you should always think in broader terms. So you should use several sources of information when evaluating whatever cybersecurity solutions you are looking at.
Do you think the criminals are also looking at these reports?
If I were a criminal,
yeah,
I would definitely look into any available resource I have available. So of course they need to pay, but if they are successful.
An APT group.
if they are advanced persistent threat group, and they have the financial resources because of their operations.
And the analyst house would sell the report to cyber criminals.
They don't need to purchase it directly. There are lots of complementary reports circulating online, which you can actually access if you provide some sort of credentials. So you can actually, as an individual, you can get access to certain type of reports, which, for example, vendors have decided to distribute for purchase. So, of course, options are there.
Lovely. They're resourceful.
Of course.
Very resourceful. You said that we have analyst houses and then we have tester houses. What's the difference between them?
Testing houses are more like laboratories. You can imagine them like really, you provide your samples to them.
Are there men in white coats in there?
Maybe. I have actually never been in such a lab. No, I should go.
You should definitely take me with you, please.
Yeah.
I want to know.
I would like to know how they digest the samples themselves. They are actually providing more of the technical analysis of those solutions. So they really take the samples vendors provide them with, and they check if those solutions are fulfilling certain criteria, whether we are talking about performance, whether we are talking about false positive rates, whether we are talking about certain detection rates, protection rates. Or they actually evaluate even specific scenarios, so that they create scenarios which can actually happen in the wild, and they emulate those scenarios. So there are large bodies like MITRE who actually perform these kind of emulations. So these fake scenarios where they actually test businesses or our solutions as well on these type of situations where even the most advanced persistent threat groups and their techniques and tactics are being used. So it's fascinating what these testing houses are also doing.
I'm still imagining lab coats and I know malware samples are not physical samples, but do they sometimes, or from your knowledge, do they take hardware apart to look at the parts and see if something happened? Does that happen, or is that just my imagination?
Yeah, so they do that, and they actually do a very important job because they check for vulnerabilities in different hardware devices or IoT devices, which are not always properly checked, or we are even not aware that they might have vulnerabilities in them.
To learn more about IoT security, you should check out the latest episode with Rick Hart. So it'll be somewhere.
Oh, yes.
Somewhere.
Yeah. And they do important job in a way that they also disclose those vulnerabilities to the public. So if they find that, a certain manufacturer has embedded vulnerabilities within that hardware, they talk to the hardware manufacturer if that vulnerability can be exploited in the wild so that they can fix it, so that those devices are simply patched, or the notification to users is clearly labeled.
What is the response from those manufacturers usually? Do they try to fix the vulnerabilities, or do they like, nah, we don't care?
I believe that they have to actually react very quickly if a vendor approaches them directly. So I believe that in 100% of cases, they actually address those vulnerabilities.
What are some of the other trends happening in the cybersecurity or the IT industry in general? And then maybe we can also mention a few that are on the bye-bye. So what's big at the moment?
Besides AI and machine learning, which has been actually here for a while already, but we see the adoption growing, and improved threat detection response is what we are also observing also within our our solution. So we have embedded actually AI within our even threat intelligence or our ESET Inspect, which is our advanced detection response tool. But other trends which have been actually on the market for a while already now is the zero trust. So it's not a new concept. It's been here for a while.
Can you explain what zero trust is?
It means never trust, always verify in a very simple way.
Yeah.
So actually, really, you should verify each and every access you have within your systems. So you should never think that your systems are protected only because you have anti-malware solution or because you have even the most sophisticated solutions deployed within your environment. You should always check every access which might be enabled within those systems. We have seen it also with the recent situation which happened
The blue screen of death, you mean?
Yes. Yeah. So
The worldwide blue screen of death?
So it was a bit different situation, of course, but nevertheless, this zero trust concept actually shows you that in security, you should never assume anything and always verify each and every access which is out there. And another big thing, which also has been ongoing for a very long time, it is still growing in mass adoption, is the cloud security and how to actually protect workloads which are distributed in cloud. And you really need also a different type of solutions to actually protect those cloud workloads and cloud infrastructure.
And the opposite of that is on-premise, correct?
On-premise, yeah. So everything what is physical in layman's term.
I have a question there. Because in my sort of circle of people, a lot of people believe that moving everything to the cloud is less secure. What would you say to those? What can I tell them to put their mind at ease?
I am very risk-averse person myself, so I evaluate risks on an ongoing basis, and I believe that every security person and even non-security person should evaluate those risks continuously. And putting everything into one basket is always risky. Putting everything into one big cloud storage place or marketplace or repository, it's always risky. So I believe that segmentation of your resources, of your assets, should be always done. So I wouldn't say that moving everything to cloud or one single cloud provider is the best solution. If I had my own company, I wouldn't do that because it's way, way too risky.
What's a dying trend?
Dying trend, that's a good one. I believe that we are moving beyond perimeter. I mean, firewall is a good example. We are going beyond firewall. So you really need to go on different edges. You see that the threat attack surface is expanding. As such, you need to be close to the sources. So those are those edges. IoT devices are also expanding. They are being used more and more. And we simply see that, okay, this perimeter-based security is simply not enough. There goes the zero trust. Zero trust actually is I would say, the opposite of perimeter-based security. Yeah.
Another, maybe, and tell me if I'm wrong, but slowly moving away from cybersecurity is the notion of antivirus. A lot of people, when they think about cybersecurity, that's the first thing that comes to mind is antivirus, because that's what it was 30 years ago. But actually, in the industry, antivirus is just one small part of what we do.
Yeah, definitely. We don't even use antivirus anymore.
Yeah.
If we want to be correct, we should say anti-malware, because virus is just one small subtype of malware which can be actually exploited. And as such, it can be for a person who does not work in security. Antivirus is very, very small subset of a large body of different cyber threats and vulnerabilities which are out there.
Based on your work and what you do and all these analysis and reports and all of the stuff that you have to consume daily, from your perspective, what does ESET do in terms of innovations and staying ahead of these threats, and how do we utilize your knowledge and the knowledge of people like you?
I just absorb the knowledge and I distribute the knowledge. But actually, there are much more important people here at company who are working on the research themselves. So they are actually actively tracking different threats, different threat groups, different vulnerabilities on a daily basis. And they actually are then able to improve our solutions. So we are actually better prepared to mitigate any potential threats which are coming our way, so that our solutions are really fine-tuned in a way which address those threats and vulnerabilities. So I would say our research teams globally is what makes us innovative and unique. Then, of course, I cannot omit threat intelligence. So we have really globally deployed sensors all around the globe, which actually are able to collect informations from all the devices which we are protecting globally. And we actually actively utilize that threat intelligence also to predict the next steps of attackers, so that we know what they are planning, or when we simply observe certain patterns in their behavior, we are able actually to stop those attacks even from starting. So that's something which is really unique.
Prevention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also connected with our partnerships, our collaborations we have globally. So of course, we collaborate on a global level with different organizations, different communities within cybersecurity space, where we share knowledge, where we exchange threat intel, so that we are protected also globally as a community, because we should be helping each other. We are a community.
And we have a shared goal, so
yeah, because it's of course a matter of shared responsibility model. We are defending actually together. And ESET is also part of different important organizations in also law enforcement, or even education sector, where they come up with new innovations, where they develop new solutions. So that's definitely something which I believe distinguishes ESET.
Is there anything from the threat landscape that you feel like is like a big challenge for us at the moment? Or if that's a bad question, feel free to tell me.
For us as a vendor, or
for cybersecurity as a field, as in general?
I believe that there is a lot of talk of ransomware. There is a lot of talk of phishing, but I believe what we omit, because it's not as sexy, are the simple things, like how to ensure that your solutions are configured properly. How can you make sure that you follow the basic cyber hygiene processes? Because actually, that's where most of not even attacks happen. Most of vulnerabilities can be actually found.
No, there's a human factor. Yeah.
So we should talk more about that. We should talk more about that cyber hygiene and how to ensure that everyone is on board and knows what needs to be done during certain steps.
Right.
When something happens.
What would be your top 3 pieces of advice for people to stay protected online? Something we ask everyone who comes on the show.
Okay. 3 pieces of advice. When you think about your passwords, think about it as your toothbrush. You should change it regularly, but don't share it with anyone. That's my first advice. Second one, not every nice puppy on the internet is a nice puppy on the internet. Don't click on everything.
Okay,
yeah, it can lead you somewhere you don't want to be.
Very true.
And always think about your digital footprint and digital legacy, because everything you put into digital space, most probably it will stay there forever. So when you put something into your browser and ask some funny questions, think about it next time. You never know.
Does that mean that we should be scared of Google?
Definitely.
Oh no.
No, just be responsible.
Yeah.
And trust, but verify.
But before we said zero trust.
Yeah, trust. Never trust.
Never trust and
Always verify.
That's the tagline. Well, thank you, Zuzka, for being here today. I had a blast talking to you, and I've definitely learned quite a lot about a field or a part of our industry that I wasn't so familiar with. So thank you.
I'm happy
so much.
I was able to share some of my brain.
Yeah, and we'd definitely love to have you again sometime in the future if you'd have us. So you're always welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you for watching. I hope you learned quite a lot, and I hope that you've enjoyed today's episode. I've definitely had fun. I definitely will from now on never trust and always verify. Make sure to follow us to never miss any future episodes, and make sure you also check us out on all of our social media. And we'll see you next time. Bye.